Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, your go-to place for everything Rocket League with your hosts, K-Cube, AJ Binky, and Red. So lean forward, lock in, and get ready to go Boost Over Ball.
Hello and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle, K-Cube, and I'm joined today by AJ Binky and the man himself, DJ. How's it going?
Man himself, I'll take it. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, man.
Well, you're racking up new titles. I don't know how to proceed with that. So I just got to go with the man.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, if we really want to sit here and go through, we could probably do it for the whole hour. But yeah.
A man certainly wearing many hats, especially recently with a string of announcements coming through on Twitter. But this episode, we're going to be catching up with DJ. We're going to be talking about the stuff that he's got going on with esports at UGA, with himself personally, and all of the endeavors that he's, working through, and talk a little bit more in depth about Third Man Podcast joining the Boost Over Ball network. So we got a lot to talk about today, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, man, it has been a extremely busy last few months. For those of you who aren't familiar with me or what I do, like Cube was saying, wearing a lot of hats, director of esports at the University of Georgia. As of this week, a professional esports coach for Ghost Gaming now, instead of just being an ambassador, which is another really cool thing that I'm sure we'll talk about. Podcaster, actual caster, content creator. People person, manager at this point. Like, I don't know. There's so much going on, but yeah, where do we want to start here?
I got this. So the last time we talked was before your TED Talk, and I know because we've talked, but the people who are listening have not heard from you. How did your TED Talk go, and what was that experience like?
It was incredible. I mean, it is something that I never in my wildest dreams really imagined myself doing. But the moment that we started doing like actual full practice runs here at the College of Journalism, and then doing it over at the Morton Theater where the whole show went down, it just slowly became more and more surreal. And then it happened. It went really well. Obviously got a really loud crowd pop off at the end of it. People thought it was funny. People thought it was inspiring. And I think it opened a lot of people's eyes towards what esports is. And that was the point of the whole talk and why I wanted to do it. So yeah, I mean, it was life-changing, man. It was incredible.
Yeah, one of the few people that I know, or the only person that I know personally that can say thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and I've actually so congratulations again on that. I watched the online version, not being in Athens, so but watched the online show, and again, couldn't have been a better ambassador for, I'll say, esports in general, but specifically for esports at UGA. A fantastic way to kick things off, as and a good segue into what's been going on at behind the scenes at esports UGA.
Yeah, which has been a lot, right? So last semester, obviously the TED Talk happened, and that took a lot of what I can do for esports at UGA. It ironically was funny because obviously like my role in doing that TED Talk was to be an ambassador for esports and to represent esports at UGA, but I actually had to kind of step back a little bit from all of that simply because of going through that experience, writing, having meetings every week. Like it was a full-time job for my entire spring semester just about. So having to, or yeah, go for it.
What kind of goes into that process? I mean, I assume a lot of people would say like, oh, it's just an interview, like, but I know for a fact that you did a ton of groundwork for it. So like, what does that like groundwork kind of look like?
I mean, it is. Gosh, where do I even start here?
I left that so open-ended. I'm so sorry.
Well, yeah, no. I'm trying to just think about where I want to start. So I'll go very, very briefly over the selection process and then get into the actual nitty-gritty. So UGA is so it's just TEDx UGA. It is a independently ran TED event that UGA College of Journalism gets to run every year, which is such a cool thing. And so then they open up a selection process in the fall, and they hold interviews for the top. I think like top. Let's see. There was 8 speakers, I believe, or no, 12 speakers, I believe. So I think for the top like 25-ish, they held interviews to kind of figure out what they wanted to do. And so I got asked in that portion, got asked to show up and do an interview, and that went really, really well. And I got to really kind of show them the thoughts behind my TED Talk, because all that you send them is like a write up of what you want your talk to be about and kind of what your idea is. What TED calls it is your big idea. And so mine was obviously showing off esports and how it's changed my life and how it can change everyone else's. So they thought that was really cool. The interview went really well, and then before I knew it, I was at a dinner with all of the TED curators, which is a mix of professionals and students who come together to help you write your TED Talk. And that's actually a class here at UGA. If you're a journalism student, is that you can help the TED speakers write their talks, which is such a cool thing. I don't know how many other colleges get to do that, but that was really cool. So it was me and basically a board of my peers who obviously were very experienced in learning what TED Talks need to be about and their length and how they kind of flow. And so getting to go through that process, it was like I had to kind of learn how to walk again. People would think that writing a TED Talk is just your average professional speech, like just at the highest level, but it is. TED itself is such its own genre of talk and how you have to keep things interesting. And also, if you go look at TED Talks over time, the way that the attention span of the world has changed too, because of how. And this is a whole different conversation for another day. But technology obviously being such a prevalent part of our day-to-day lives, the attention span and the length of TED Talks, that's been massive. So you have to keep it to a certain length. So like my goal that I was given was 10 minutes, and that's it. No more, and not too less. Like you don't want to go 8 minutes. You know, you got to hit that 10 mark. It's like a YouTube video at that point, which also is a good fitting description for the attention span of things. But yeah, so trying to A, write the speech, B, make it in TED format, which like to make it interesting, to make it speakable, and then C, to blend it and cut it and add it in a way to be right around that 10-minute mark. Yeah, that was a process that took 4 months. That was November all the way up to February. Was all of that. That was cutting and all that. Just meetings every week, just staying on track, staying on top of things. That also includes creating my slides too, that we had to use for my TED Talk. So visually and artistically and literally writing out everything and creating everything. Yeah, that was a 4-month process.
That's, I mean, I had heard a little bit about the process from when we've talked, before the episode and previously, but for people who, aren't aware of the time commitment and the amount of effort that goes in to make the TED Talks as special and as informative and like as, I guess, encapsulating for the amount of time that you're given is no small feat. So hopefully that kind of let, people peek behind the curtain a little bit and kind of see what goes into it. But, you had to take a step back from a lot of the esports at UGA stuff to make that happen. But, in the meantime, you're still doing casting, you're still doing content creation, you're still doing, college, you're still doing all kinds of stuff. So I guess it's always a great question for me because, it's always interesting to hear different people's takes. And, I'm sure we've asked before, but it's never a bad idea to hear a different answer or another answer. But how do you like manage your time? How are you able to juggle so many things at the same time?
Yeah, so I think I'm in the least egotistical way possible. I think it takes a special level of delusion, like to be involved in as many fields as I've gotten involved with. I think it takes a certain level of motivation and partial delusion. And what I mean by that is every single day, my mentality around this field is that if I am not doing anything, and I don't have anything scheduled, then I am missing out and I am falling behind. Like it's basically the mentality of someone is outworking you. That's kind of what drives me every day, because I obviously don't want to fall behind. And also, given the fact that I chose my career to be esports with UGA, I kind of made my path harder as well. Because I could have gone to a scholarship program. I did have Rocket League offers coming out of high school, and I could have gone to a scholarship program and immediately been in front of the lights as a player and as a leader. But I kind of decided that the player route simply wasn't what I wanted to do, and I wanted to focus on myself and my education, which then turned out to be the best possible option, because it puts me out in front of people the most. But yeah, no, managing all of that, for me, it is, I have a calendar, obviously. I have every hour booked some days, and I just have it all written down. I have links to Zoom meetings, like anything and everything I have in a calendar. I use my phone calendar for that. I don't use like Google Calendar or something special, even though I probably should, but that's okay. um, and then from there, it is just a matter of spacing out when you need to. So like I can feel when my breaking point is. And there is plenty of times where I have not wanted to do something or I've wanted to take a day off and I haven't been able to. And that is part of what simply working is. Not even working in esports. Like, yes, it's bad because esports is obviously a harder field to get into at the top level compared to like your average business job or whatever. But it also has its quirks. Like, it is a fun field. I get to talk to really incredible people. I get to play games for a lot of what I do. And sometimes it can feel like a chore. So the biggest thing for me was just when I can feel myself getting to a point, finding the time to step back. And this summer was the first time that I think I started to feel overworked and kind of like getting to that point to the worst extent in my esports career, probably. And so when that happened, I took a massive step back from esports in terms of my high level stuff. And from a span of late June to early July, it was 3 weeks in a row. So I had esports camp with a bunch of middle schoolers, which is just coaching and having fun. And we don't play Rocket League, so I don't have to worry about making it a job. We just sat there and played Fortnite, and they dogged me, which is good. That was fun. I don't play Fortnite, so that was really nice, and that was a good like realization and time for me to see what esports really means to the general public and especially to these kids too. So that really put my life in perspective, and I got the chance to step back and see a bigger picture than what I thought I already saw. So had esports camp week 1 in late June, and then I went on vacation for a week with my family. Obviously, being at college and being so busy, I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with them. So to get a week kind of uninterrupted was awesome. And also, I bought a PlayStation too, which is going to sound counterproductive, but for me, the reason why I even became a gamer was because I sat on my couch in my basement with my Xbox 360 playing NCAA Football 14. That is what I talked about in the TED Talk. That's what I talk about every single time someone asks me about it. That is where it started for me. And so for me to have a console, no matter what I'm playing, just to be playing on a TV and not sitting in a uncomfortable chair with a 240 hertz monitor in front of my face, playing Rocket League or whatever, like being able to step back and just play games again, that was one of the biggest revelations for me as well this summer. And so I brought that with me on vacation, so I got a really good balance of just feeling like a kid again in a way. And that made me definitely appreciate kind of where I've come from and where I'm at now. And then I got to go back home for the week after that and got to do another week of the esports camp with the middle schoolers, which again was just a blast. And that's also, I do that with my mentor, PK Graf. I get to do both those weeks with him. And so getting to sit down with him and also just catch up and talk life in general has been a massive thing for me as well, just to, again, keep things in perspective and keep my head on straight. So to wrap up that whole thing, TLDR, it's about stepping away when you need to. And that's the specific example of what I had to do this summer.
That's fantastic. I think I've helped out with the middle school camp before at my at the school where I coached, and it kind of helps put everything in perspective. It's like why are we doing what we're doing? Well, it's for that, right? The pure joy, the pure excitement, the pure like admiration of the it's someone to look up to. It's people like, hey, this is actually something that I could continue to do through school, make friends, be on a team, be a part of something bigger than myself. So I'm glad you're able to find some perspective on that. Secondly, you bought a PlayStation, and we've talked about this. You talked about it very briefly because your first memories as a gamer playing NCAA football. You bought a PlayStation. What was the game that brought you back to PlayStation, even though I already know the answer?
Yeah, it's NCAA Football 25.
Yep.
Without a single doubt.
Yeah, no. That I bought an Xbox One X last summer when I saw one on sale, because I knew that NCAA Football 25 was coming only to console.
Yep.
And because
that's why
NHL is only a console game.
Yeah, and that's why I got my place. I got mine back in like Probably end of May, I got it. Yeah, I tried to get early on that curve, and then once it came out and everybody started looking, like all my friends started looking for ones, I definitely felt really good about that. But no, sports games is why I started. Like, yeah, like I played Madden, I played NCAA, I played NHL, I played FIFA. Like all of those games, were why I started playing games, not just NCAA football. But yes, I mean, I saw that game and I saw it was console only. I'm like, I think mentally I need this, and I think I quote unquote, I think I deserve it for myself.
Yeah, no, it was like that's the first, at least in my opinion, this is like the first game in quite a while that's been like, I need a console because I need to play this game.
And hey, it's been worth it in my eyes. I don't know about
Hey,
your experience, but
I mean,
it's been worth it to me.
I already got over, a couple hundred hours on that game, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I'm at like 70 or something like that. And also, I got the MVP edition because I was already gonna buy deluxe edition, and it was like almost $100. And then at that point, you just pay 30 to get Madden early. And at that point, Madden's probably worth $30 flat. So, so I thought it was a pretty good deal. I definitely wouldn't pay 60 plus for it, but NCAA Football 25 so far has been worth it. So it gives me hope that maybe the MVP edition was a steal, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly, like, this is kind of getting a little bit off of, like, you personally and more onto, like, esports and gaming in general, but, like, it's good to have a balance, right? You and I both play Rocket League. That's, like, no matter what happens, that's the game I go back to. It's, like, my comfort game, but, like, you have to play something different sometimes just to switch things up. You have to get your butt kicked in Fortnite. When I was coaching, like, had to, play against our COD team, our Smash team, just get absolutely thrashed and, laugh at yourself and have some fun. But NCAA football has been a really good, like, mental refresh, I feel like, for me. It seems like for you. So, I'm happy that you're able to find that for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, once they fix the poll rankings in Dynasty, we're good. But the rest of it has been very great.
Yeah, it's that's a whole different topic. We could probably do a whole
yeah,
hour
that's
on, like,
yep, the game. Yeah.
But so we talked about some of the time management. We talked about the TED Talk, which it's been a while since you did the TED Talk, but, like, it's been a while since you've been on the podcast, which no one's fault but mine on that one. But I guess we'll talk about the next thing, like, in order, right? So let's talk about your Ghost Gaming. So
yeah,
previously you were the lead ambassador for Ghost Gaming. If you wouldn't mind just doing a quick, like, bird's eye view of what that was to you, and how it progressed into what it has now.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, I was just a ambassador. So that, yeah, I've really kind of gotten to come up the chain of command there, which has been such a cool experience. Ghost has obviously really tried to dive into the Scholastic esports world. I mean, me and Ryan, that's Buddy RV, we were both recruited as high schoolers, and we met Todd Harris, who obviously runs everything at Ghost. We met him in person at CECC, which is a national collegiate event. And so, yeah, so ever since high school, Ghost has been like, they realized that there is a lot of really impactful people who are coming up the ranks, especially here in the state of Georgia. And so that's what that became. So that was really cool. And so with that, me and my mentor, we kind of had an idea that this whole thing was coming with Ghosts deciding to bring on collegiate people. And so we actually kind of had like a program already drawn up about an ambassador program to present to Ghost. And that went really, really well. And the Ghost took that model, and we basically had to make some fine tuning, and then that's what we used. And so I was a shoe-in for that, and that then made me the shoe-in for lead ambassador because I was a major part of developing the project. So that whole process, that was just more of a time thing. It wasn't really too much of a difficult thing because obviously what's so cool about that ambassador program is that everybody just simply does what they do. But it's a matter of coming together under the name of esports in the state of Georgia. And so other than just a few meetings and a few events that we try to bring everybody out to in Atlanta, it's really not much of an ask at all. And we get some incredible people who get to also be org signed, which is awesome. And obviously there's more benefits I could go on and on about, but that's the easy gist. And then from there, obviously through my involvement at Ghost for the last 2 years, oh my, I'm dying. Okay. Obviously with my involvement at Ghost for the last 2 years, I realized I saw that we made an announcement that we're joining the Ultimate Endgamers League, which I'll go over what that is in a second. But we were joining an official league again as a pro team, which is something that Ghost hasn't done in a while due to the state of financial esports, which is a whole other conversation we could have. But we finally had a team again, and so when I saw that, and I obviously heard that they were doing applications, I had people in the organization who vouched for me to give it a shot. And so that's what I did. So I gave it a shot. I interviewed with the now manager of the team, which is Tyler, who is now also with Ghost. He's a really nice and just dope ass guy who used to work in the Smite realm of things. So he's awesome. And then I interviewed with him. He liked what I had to say and my experience, even especially me only being 20 years old, having the pedigree I guess that I've built up. And so with that, I mean, it wasn't an easy fight. There was definitely a lot of really great applicants, but at the end of the day, I think my experience with Ghost and my experience in the esports world got me that job. So yeah, professional esports coach. My official title is head coach, so I got a little bit of respect on the name.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations on that. That's congratulations on your, I guess promotion would be the right word in that
yeah.
case. Because staying with the same company, but just taking up a new role. Are you still working at all with the ambassadors? Because I know that's something that you've talked about fondly in the past.
Yes, I mean that program means everything to me. So I do worry that because of my involvement, there's a world where I might have to step out of my lead ambassador role. But if that does happen, I feel very confident that whoever would take my role would be very great. And I mean, that's why everybody who's also an ambassador right now, like that's why they've gotten that job. That's why they are ambassadors, because they're incredible. So I'm sure whoever's next will do a great job if I have to step out, which we'll see what kind of happens in the next few weeks with that. But yeah, I mean, even if I do drop out, I obviously will still be an ambassador, even if it's not my official title. I mean, what I do every single day is being an ambassador. Like, I'm representing a lot right now, and Ghost is obviously one of the biggest parts of what I do. So, I definitely won't be too far.
That's awesome. So, do you want to talk a little bit about Ghost's re-entry into professional gaming? You teased it a little bit in the previous question, but what does that look like? What is the league format like, and how can we tune in to check out Pro Ghost Gaming?
Yeah, so I mean, Ultimate Endgamers League is a one-of-a-kind prospect type of league, and it is something incredible. I'm gonna grab their Twitter at real quick. It is just simply UEL Esports, Ultimate Endgamers League, UEL, so UEL Esports. You can go check them out there, and then you'll also see the Ghost Gaming Esports Twitter involved and all that stuff as well, or the Ghost Gaming accounts in general, which is just Ghost Gaming. You can look us up and find our whole links, our link tree there somewhere. But yeah, no, so Ultimate Endgamers League is a league that features, let me look up the exact amount of games. It is, I think, 25 different games, all under one league. And this isn't just like, oh, you have one team in Rocket League, you have one team that plays in, like, Fortnite, like it's just simply not that format. And what is so awesome is that there are all these games, and there's a wheel that spins before the match that you play against another team, another franchise team, by the way. All these teams are franchised, and so you play a franchise team, a wheel gets spun, and then you simply have to play whatever game pops up. So, like, just to read off some of the examples, like there's FIFA is 2v2, Valorant is obviously 5v5, there's Gears of War, there's Apex Legends, there's Halo Infinite, there is Need for Speed, there's F1, Guilty Gear, Street Fighter, Dead by Daylight even, which is one of my favorite things on this list because that's just awesome. And then there's Pokemon Scarlet too, because why not, right? So this is it's such a one-of-a-kind league. And they've had such a cool origin story, too. They started as kind of like a little LAN center get-together type of thing in Virginia, from what I've heard. And then next thing you know, Season 8, I believe, had I think it was a $100,000 prize pool. And then here we are in Season 9, which starts at the end of this month. And then it's going to be on $1 million prize pool, which is an incredible amount of growth from the UEL team. And so big shout out to them. But that's the easy gist. So yeah, big franchise league with like 25, 30 different games. all under one competition.
So what is like the roster size of a team look like?
I believe we have a starting quote unquote like 8 players, but we have a roster of 15, of just about 15. I'm still learning, obviously, so if I'm off by one or two, then I apologize. But that is like I can almost guarantee that that's one or two people off. But yeah,
Right, and so then you have people who like maybe aren't like full time, but like who specialize in certain
yes.
games.
Yes, we do have our full-time players and our players who are not like paid at all. So yes, we do have that. And that's another really cool part is that some of these players are making solid money out of this because they are so talented gamers, not just like shooters or racers or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, so we have that balance there.
Yeah, because you got to be. I would imagine with that many games, you'd have to like diversify your talents. Right?
Yes.
So like, I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be like your shooters, like they're good at Valorant, they're good at Apex,
Yep.
they're good at Call of Duty, they're good at any of the shooter games, and then I would imagine there's going to be your racers and stuff like that.
Yeah, luckily we have like for example, like there's not a lot of games in this list that if you're not good at one, you're not good at multiple. So like if you're good at one or two fighters, you're good at almost all of them.
Right.
If you're good at one or two shooters, then you're good at basically all of them. So it's more about the strategy games that are kind of a weird category. Like for example, like StarCraft, like that's more of like a one or two player, like a one-off type of thing. The racers are not too bad because a lot of them can be played with controller fairly easily. And if you're good at the sports games, you're probably good enough at the racers. So there's a lot of overlap in places that you wouldn't expect it. And obviously, because there's so many players in this league, there's some people like let's just say they're really, really good at UFC, but then they're also like cracked at Apex. Like it's just these random combos you'd never expect. And then he's also like a dope like StarCraft player. Like who knows, right? There's
Right.
just so much variety in there, and it's just such a cool thing.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Are they going to be streaming their matches on Ghost Official Twitch? Are you going to be able to find that on Twitter? Where can we find the links to watch you guys compete when that starts happening?
I really wish I had a direct answer. I'm not on that whole side of things, so I'm not sure. I would love it if our games were streamed, and if you are looking for the Ghost channels, if you look up Ghost Esports on Twitter, that is where all of the league updates from our end are going to be posted. So that's just at Ghost Esports, capital G, capital E. And that's where all that's going to be posted. So there also is a mainstream that picks up a game every week, I believe. They have 4 game days. You play on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Then there's one game a day because there's only like 12 teams, I believe. So getting a mainstream game is very likely, but I'm not exactly sure how that works since this is my first time in this world of esports with the UEL.
Right.
So yeah, I wish I had a direct answer, but you can just follow Ghost Esports and stay in the loop.
Yeah, I'm sure more information will come out on that, and I just kind of assume like it's esports, right? It's not too difficult usually, depending on the game, to get someone to be able to stream it. So I'm sure more information will become available, but like that Ghost Esports on Twitter will probably be your best bet if you're looking to follow DJ for all the DJ fans around the world out there.
Yes, sir.
But the last like personal thing we'll talk about before we talk about some podcast stuff is director of esports at UGA. You said that at the beginning. You were previously the president of esports at UGA. How did the title change come about, and what are you most looking forward to about your I guess revised role?
Yeah, so what's funny enough is that my role has not changed. It is simply a title change, and the reason why we did that was because I must be completely blunt, not trying to be like an ass or anything.
So somebody else could be president?
Oh no, it is like there's not just like an open president spot. We changed the naming of roles. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no. It does.
Yeah. So there is a technically in most programs you have your varsity director and then you have your student president. But with a program like ours that has also done so well so quickly, I kind of made the motion to my team that I was like, hey y'all, like we are a very legitimate program. Like we're up for 3 national awards at the end of this last spring. Like I think it's time that we kind of start acting official because like we're allowed to. Like who's gonna stop us, right? It's not like we're not violating any rules or anything by calling myself a director. I mean, and even if there was an issue, I could still be a student director under our own terms. So it was more of a legitimacy thing for us. Because obviously, as a student club, I know Texas A&M has a very similar story to us as well. Where like they are competitive, and they are very talented and very great at what they do, but people don't respect them as much as the varsity programs just because that they are a student program. And so we just simply are sick and tired of that. And I think given the work that me and my team do, we're all deserving of better titles. I mean, especially like resume wise, even if esports UGA fails tomorrow, like just to look at this experience and say, hey, like we were doing this and we were called this officially, and we, like my team deserves that role, and I think that I also kind of deserve to be a director too. And especially when I spend all week in meetings with other varsity directors. Like, I mean, we're doing the same work, just about. I just don't have a major budget or a major lab to work with. But yeah, so it was more just a name change for the legitimacy and the future of the program.
I mean, that makes sense. And, whether you like to admit it, whether I like to admit it, like outward appearances do matter, especially like when you're trying to network with other people of similar statures, right? Like, so you interacting with other directors of esports as a president of esports, like certainly, even if unconsciously maybe there's a little bit of bias towards that, like, oh, it's just the president of esports, like, it's a little bit different. So like, even though it doesn't really mean anything, I feel like a title change certainly reflects the work and the heart and soul that you guys put into the program. And so, even though your roles haven't changed, even though your workload hasn't changed, again, congratulations on the title change.
Thank you.
But is there anything else that you want to shout out, to talk about, to bring up before we talk about some podcast stuff?
I mean, there's so much that I'm hoping that if I come back on the pod in a month or two, that I think a lot is about to develop for esports at UGA. A lot of people are going to hear me and think I'm crazy, but I mean, esports at UGA has the potential to lead the nation, in terms of community and in terms of student development. And I know that people are going to think that sounds crazy, but if you look at the work I've done, if you look at the work that our new vice president, Hannah, who's been on this podcast plenty of times.
She's the voice of the podcast.
She is the voice of the podcast. That is fair. Like, if you look at the work that we're doing, you'll understand that our students are just as special. And unironically, I do not feel like that any other collegiate program, varsity or not, has as many dedicated members working every day of their lives for free, as much as we do, other than maybe a select few that we're friends with. But, for the reference of the podcast, we're coming.
I have zero doubts about that. Getting to speak with you, multiple times on the podcast, and countless times outside, being able to talk to Hannah. I see the time, the energy, the dedication, the heart and soul that you guys pour in, and I can't imagine anything but success for you guys, both with esports at UGA and any personal endeavors that you take. But before we transition away from this, how can people find out about the goings on of esports at UGA? Where can people check out what you guys are up to, what you're streaming, what you're posting, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we keep it super easy. It is at esports UGA on every living platform. It is that easy. So you can find us anywhere through there, and you can keep up with everything that we have on Instagram and Twitter mainly.
Okay. And I apologize in advance to everybody who's going to get the episode notes on this one, but all of the esports links, the Ghost links, DJ's links, Third Man's links, they're all going to be in the episode notes at the episode description at the end. So a lot of links there, but a lot of relevant information for people who want to stay involved and know what's going on with you, what's going on with esports at UGA, Ghost, all of those things. So certainly there will be plenty of ways for people to stay in tune with what's going on.
I mean, that transitions really well into our next topic too.
It certainly does. It's almost like we're getting better at this. Done it, 110 times. I'd finally figure out how to do it. But people may have seen it on Twitter. We were posting about it a lot. It was on your Twitter, but your podcast, Third Man, is officially joining the Boost Over Ball Network. Welcome to the family, first and foremost. And what are you most excited about for this partnership?
Yeah, I mean, Third Man is my passion project that I'm very happy that y'all obviously saw and shared the same vision that I do. And the whole point of that show is to highlight the voices in collegiate that I've gotten to meet that I know that they may never get to see as many opportunities or lights um, that I've gotten to, luckily and fortunately. So yeah, that whole podcast is just meant to highlight some really incredible special people who don't have a major platform. And so, with a Boost Over Ball, obviously, y'all being so incredibly nice to help pick it up, we're going to have it on Spotify. We're going to have it on Apple Podcasts. We're going to have it on, what's the third one? I forget.
Amazon Music.
Thank you, Amazon Music. Yeah, and so
it will as well continue to live on YouTube and on Twitch VODs as well. We're just
Yes.
adding to the repertoire of places that it can be found.
Yeah, and also having it actually be in podcast form and not video podcast form is just such a major step for the credibility of Third Man too. Especially when I got to do 3 episodes with I think the second one going the best and kind of really starting to get in front of people's eyes. And then kind of because of my schedule, because of doing the TED Talk, because of all of these things, it kind of fell down my list, and so I had to temporarily kind of cancel it until this school year. And then as I was getting ready to start it back, I got the DM from Cube, and here we are. So it's a really exciting step for me.
Yeah, and for people who are confused, because I've had some people asking me in my DMs, you are maintaining ownership and captaincy of your podcast. You're steering the ship, you're choosing the guests, you're running the show as you see fit. The only difference and same for us at Boost Over Ball, we're continuing to run the ship here. We're continuing to choose which guests come on, how the direction of the show, all the things like that. The only thing that this changes for people is there are now even more ways to listen to Third Man Podcast in offline form, right? So you don't have to go onto Twitch to do that. You don't have to watch the YouTube video if you're in your car, if you're going for a run, working out, listening to podcasts, which is what I do. This is another avenue for people to consume Third Man Podcast in, I guess, audio only form. That is the only change that is being made here.
Yeah, well, and it's a partnership, right? So obviously me and you combining our platforms so that I can help promote Boost Over Ball, and the step that y'all took to help me promote my show. So this is more of just a family gathering than anything weird business wise.
Yeah, for sure. And it works out really well. Like we talk mostly about RLCS Pro Level Rocket League. Try to interview people in and around the scene, and you definitely lift voices that other people may not have heard throughout the collegiate scene, throughout college esports in general. And I think it's a good partnership just because it's a wealth of information and knowledge and networking that we both have, that we're able to bring both of you guys through, or bring everyone through both of these shows, voices that you may not have heard on the level that we're able to get.
Yeah, I mean, and our audiences are only slightly different. With y'all, obviously, I think having a little more of an edge on the professional end and me having a collegiate edge. But I mean, both of our audiences should really love what is about to be put out by both of us. So, I mean, it's just, again, really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll post again. I'm posting the Third Man links in the episode description, but we have 2 episodes. DJ's first and second episode of Third Man are now live. The third one is scheduled to go live tonight at 7 p.m. I believe you are recording an episode tomorrow, which will then, moving forward, provided the time and the interviews are lined up, the Third Man podcast will go live Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes. So if you want to catch it live, that is Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/DJTJRL. So if you want to catch it live, you want to actually be in chat to ask the questions that are featured on the podcast at the end, then that is where you go for that. And also just to, again, hear these incredible voices. But yeah, it'll be in podcast form every Monday. And by the time this specific episode goes out, all 4 episodes should be out, I believe.
Yes, that is correct. This episode will go out Thursday, August 8th.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to double check on that one, but that is part of the reason for us moving our episodes to Thursday. One of the couple of reasons gives us a little bit more time to gather some information. We are going to shift it for Shift Summer League so we could actually talk about the results, and so we could post Third Man on Mondays, and now we have Monday Thursday episodes of similar content, but with different focuses. So for people who are looking to stay involved in Rocket League and esports, with a Rocket League focus, I guess would be the best way to put it. You now have two shows to listen to a week, so twice the content on that one.
Yeah, I mean, this week's going to be a really great example for everybody because obviously y'all have a lot to cover with Shift and with EWC and with Worlds slowly approaching and with all the tournaments that just got announced, the Rumble stuff and all that. And then, I mean, meanwhile, this week it's going to be me and two of my childhood kind of friends who we've kind of come up through esports as children. And this week we're going to be talking about I mean, just how we kind of figured out the scene as literal children, and kind of what that did mentally and physically for us, and how it developed us. So there's a lot of difference. Even though, yes, obviously me and one of my guests are going to be another like Rocket League players, but we won't be touching on nearly as much professional oriented stuff as obviously y'all do.
Yeah, and I mean, like, part of that for me is like I'm gonna use like a real world example here, but like for people who have seen it, the Netflix show Drive to Survive, the Formula One show, like Hard Knocks, quarterback, receiver, like notably, like those are the shows that they brought people behind the curtain. They get to talk to the people, they get to see the people for who they are, and like you develop like I really like him, and now he's a fan favorite, so now you're gonna watch the sport because you care about the person, right? It's like we're trying to do something similar here, right? So like you get to interact and talk with DJ and the third and anybody else who's on Third Man. You get to kind of peek behind what they're doing and get an insight into who they are as a person. And now you're invested. Now you're one of the worldwide DJ fans. And it's the same thing with us over at Boost Over Ball, right? Like you get to hear what I'm about. You get to hear me stutter through and have bad takes and bad predictions for RLCS, but that's like part of the fun, and that's why people buy in. So that's really what we're trying to do. Just trying to bring more content that is in the same values as what we have, the same authenticity and excitement people have for esports, for us Rocket League, for you, for Collegiate, for esports at UGA, for Ghost, for all that stuff. It's certainly a welcome addition, and I can't wait to listen to the episodes, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that everyone else does as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast, and it's going to feel so nice being back in the podcaster's seat once again this school year. So it'll be a blast. I couldn't have said that better myself, man.
Yeah. But is there anything else that you wanted to talk about podcasting, about real life, about all of your many hats that you've donned for this coming school year?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing I didn't talk about was casting. I got to do the Collegiate Carball Summer Series games for Ball State this year, who finished third in the East, and they actually play in their playoff games tonight. So that was a really cool opportunity. Massive thank you to both Wova and BK. That's the director over there at Ball State, and then obviously Wova being a very, very good Rocket League player. They believed in me and what I do enough to let me host that, so that was really cool. I just got to compete in a South American Pro-Am tournament called Copa Malados, hosted by Dudes, which is DUDS on his social media, so I'd definitely go check him out. Obviously CCA, that is I think their Twitter ad is just College Carball, I think so.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so definitely check them out as well. But yeah, I mean, that's casting wise, it's been a little quiet, but that's mainly because I do a lot of school oriented stuff or RLCS qual stuff, and there's neither of those right now.
Yeah.
So it's been nice to step away and focus on something like Third Man for a little bit. And then obviously it'll be full steam ahead once all of that gets back together. But yeah, I mean, you guys can catch me during the school year at SEL Esports. That's their handle, but that's the Southeastern Esports League. That is my main casting job. Me and Mr. Bepic do that. Obviously, Mr. Bepic has been an incredible mentor for me as well, and he's the reason why I kind of got that opportunity. And so, yeah, we'll be doing that every Wednesday starting in about a month and a half ish. So in kind of early mid-September, we'll be doing that. And that'll be the best of the best in the Southeast going at it in Rocket League. So you're definitely not going to want to miss that. And there's Valorant too. So something for everybody.
Hell yeah. Well, even more ways to stay to stay tuned into what you're doing and what you guys got cooking down there in the Southeast. So, certainly I again recommend everyone to check that out. But and even an even bigger hat to add to your growing list of hats. So
yeah, it's always something, but I'm a very, very, very blessed to be in the position that I'm in. I mean, obviously, my life story is something that I've talked about in my TED Talk and something that I'm sure maybe in a future episode we'll touch on. But given my history and then being in such a fortunate position, I could never complain, and I'm just really happy to be here.
Oh yeah, but I'm gonna end this one off a little bit different. I got a different kind of question for you. Normally we ask when is the best time to go boost over ball, but we've done that before. So for all of the NCAA 25 players out there, for all of the Dynasty players, what style of coach is your go-to?
I'm so glad that you just said that. I thought you were going to ask me what team I play, and as a UGA student,
that's a dumb question.
Okay, let me look them up real quick. I've been an elite recruiter in my main save.
It's
but I rock with motivator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You gotta be a mixed recruiter motivator. But as of right now, like I started a brand new coach with my very first Dynasty, which I'm sorry guys, I did Georgia just because I do go here. I have to at least do one season. I started as a recruiter,
and I get it.
Okay, yeah. So started as a recruiter, and then kind of slowly put some motivator points in, and then now I'm in like halfway through my second year, and we're pretty dang talented now. I mean, I got a freshman at quarterback who's got like 1 overall every 2 weeks at this point, so gotta have a mix.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm glad you're finding so much fun with that. I cannot express how happy I am for you to see all the success that you've had, all of the things that you got going for you, all the stuff that seems to be falling your way. But it's not luck. It's all hard work and dedication that you put in on your end. So I cannot recommend enough for people to go check out what you're doing. Third Man, Esports UGA, Ghost Gaming, your coaching. Even go back and watch the TED Talk. Like there's so many ways that people can support you and can see all of the hard work, dedication, and time that you put in. So I cannot recommend enough that people go and check that out. All the links for all of the things we've talked about, and I apologize, there are a lot of them, will be in the episode description. But with that, I think we're going to wrap up today's episode. I'd like to thank everyone so much for listening. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, join our Discord, rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on Twitch, our TikTok, our merch store, and all of these links and more can be found on our website, boostoverball.com. Make sure to go check out Third Man on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcasts. Rate that show 5 stars, as that will really help get him off the ground over there. So make sure to go check out everything. Check out the links in the description. But with that, from everyone here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thanks for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website at boostoverball.com.